Destination, destiny, my destination. Inquisitive as I have always had so many questions. Even as a little youth, I'd be digging up the roots to find a little grain of truth. In my frustration, I would search the synagogue, the mosque, even the temple and the church. And even though some truth would be found in everyone, so could the overwhelming ego of a man. Yeah. Destination, destiny, my destination is paradise, 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 yeah. Persistent as I am, I never stop searching till I find a resolution. But no matter how I try, the books of yesteryear could never give me a solution. Then one bright day in my dismay, I went down on my knees and prayed, Father, please show me a sign for peace of mind, and so that through you I can find my destination. Destiny, yeah, my destination is paradise, 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 yeah. I keep on trotting on and on. Said I'm searching, searching. Though truly grateful, yes I am. And I thank you, Jah, for everything you've done. I thank you for the miracles you've shown me, for the Mother Spirit and Christ Michael, your son. And yes, I found that big blue book, Urantia. And when I took a little look, Revelation. Now I'm as happy as can be, 'cause I found my truth and the truth has set me free, yeah. Destination, destiny, yeah, my destination is paradise, 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 yeah. Well, it's a revelation for the now generation. It's a revelation, yeah, for the now generation. It's a revelation. turn on my mic. All right, let me turn on my microphone. Greetings, everyone around the world. Blessings and love. Welcome to another episode, presentation, teaching, revelation time. Hey, Nancy, much love, much love. So, yes, I am in Las Vegas today. We are doing the premiere of the Ubuntu documentary in Las Vegas. I'm here with Antoinette and Eric Anthony Hines. They're both joining me to work with God Jameson and his Las Vegas Charter of Compassion family on the broadcast today, on the film screening today. But before I do that, I'm here to make another presentation on Revelation time. So today we're talking about true religion, what true religion is. Okay, we're not here to bash false religions or outworn religions. We're just here to share what religion is. All right, what true religion is. So thank you for joining me, those of you that are here. Blessed love, Empress Erica. Much love to you, my sister. And yes, yes, we were supposed to, get to the venue early, but I really want to get this lesson. I want to share this lesson today, and then we can catch up when we get to the theater today. All righty then. So here we go. True religion is part 1. All right. So, yes, welcome to another edition of Revelation Time. The lesson today will be True Religion is part 1. This week, we're going to focus on what the Urantia Book says about true religion. And there's a lot more than what I'm going to present today, but I've just taken the words true religion is. That was my foundation for presenting this lesson today. True religion is. But there's a lot of other things that the Urantia Book says about true religion. So this week, we'll be focused on what our celestial family, the angels, Melchizedeks, seraphims, other types of beings have said in the Urantia Book. Then next week, I'm going to focus on what Jesus says true religion is. All right. Thank you, my brother. All right. I will take the blueberry tea today. Right. And I'll have a cup of the yogi. Both? Yeah. All right. Both in a bigger cup though. Both in bigger cup? I need a big cup. This is going to be a big lesson today. Thank you, Eric. You got it, brother. All righty. So, where are we? Yes. So here we go. Let's start. So it says, on Urantia today, there are 4 kinds of religion. There is natural or evolutionary religion. All right. We can see some of these religions still today with some of the tribes in the bushes, some of the people who have indigenous tribes who have got a religion based on their evolutionary progress or based on nature. Number 2, we have supernatural or revelatory religion. And the Urantia Book and other religions out there too have got revelation too. But The most recent revelation that I am aware of is the Urantia Book. Number 3, practical or current religion, varying degrees of the admixture of natural and supernatural religions. So this is religions that have got some of their natural evolutionary beliefs, as well as adapting supernatural truths that have been imparted to them at different points in time. Number 4, philosophic religions, man-made or philosophically thought out theologic doctrines and reason-created religions. We've got a lot of those too. And I'm not putting any of these religions down, okay? The Urantia Book says all religions are good if they inspire you to be a better person, okay? But we're going to take it a notch higher and focus on what true religion is. Here we go. True religion is the act of an individual's soul in its self-conscious relations with the Creator. Organized religion is man's attempt to socialize the worship of individual religionists. So I'm going to focus on the first half of this sentence. True religion is the act of the individual soul in its self-conscious relations with the Creator. There's a lot of technicalities around what religion is. There's a lot of debate about what religion is. But in my interactions with spiritual people, they all seem to have come to this conclusion that they are not religious, they're spiritual. And in being spiritual, they're saying that they have a direct contact with their heavenly Creator in their own unique way. It's personal to them, but it's real because it affects the way that they live, the way that they think, the way that they act, the way they treat other people. All right? Evolutionary religions and revelatory religions may differ markedly in method, but in motive, there is great similarity. Religion is not a specific function of life, rather is it a mode of living. True religion is a wholehearted devotion to some reality which the religionist deems to be of supreme value to himself or herself and for all mankind. Now, this subject is important to me personally because I remember when I was searching for truth and going to all the different religions, and they were all telling me, thank you. They were all telling me that they were the only way, and that if I wasn't a member of their religion, some of them told me I would be going to hell if I wasn't saved by their religion. But this is saying, and a lot of these religions as well, it seemed like it was a specific function in life, whereas true spirituality is your ongoing, an ongoing way of life. Like in Rastafari, they say it's livity. It's the way that you just live. Yeah? The morality of the religions of evolution drives men forward in the God quest, by the motive power of fear. The religions of revelation allure men to seek for a God of love because they crave to become like him. But religion is not merely a passive feeling of absolute dependence and surety of survival. It is a living and dynamic experience of divinity attainment, predicated on humanity's service. All right, so if you look at the scriptures, especially in the Old Testament, you know, a lot of it talks about the wrath of God, the fear of God, and how God throws down fire and brimstone and is just this vengeful God that they talk about. But when Jesus came along, he talked about the God of love, the forgiving God. And even when his enemies were crucifying him, killing him on a cross, he called God and said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I don't know how many human beings can be on a cross getting crucified by their enemies and still show them love. That is an amazing quality. And if Jesus is the representative of God, which I believe he is, then he has showed us how loving God is. You know, and it's the same thing with parents that I know who get disrespected by their children. It doesn't matter when I see some parents, the way some kids treats their parents, I just want to give them a whooping. But these parents are just still so loving and forgiving and tolerant and patient of the disrespect that that's just another demonstration of the love of God. You know, not God that God is going to let us disrespect him forever, but he is very tolerant of our stupidity and gives us multiple chances, you know. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you move from the fear of God to the love of God. So let's go back to what this was saying. So the morality, you know, of the religions of evolution drives men. So their morality or their good behavior is based on the fear that they have for God. Whereas true religion means that you want to be like God. So you naturally start to behave better, start to be loving and kind and understanding. And this is saying religion is not merely a passive feeling. So there's nothing passive about true religion, you know? All right. I'm going to have to, I need to take this call quickly. Hello, Maria. I am good. I'm just doing my podcast. I'm at God's, but I'm going to make my way to the venue at midday at 12. Yes. No, go ahead, please. All right. All right. Much love. Bye. All right. Let's move on. True religion is a living and dynamic experience of divinity attainment predicated on humanity's service. So these two come hand in hand. While you're striving to be like God, you're also serving humanity. And while you're being of service to humanity, you're able to experience God in the people that you're serving. When religion is wholly spiritual in motive, it makes all life more worthwhile, filling it with high purposes, dignifying it with transcendent values, inspiring it with superb motives, all the while comforting the human soul with a sublime and sustaining hope. True religion is designed to lessen the strain of existence. It releases faith and courage for daily living and unselfish serving. Faith promotes spiritual vitality and righteous fruitfulness. Is that beautiful or is that beautiful? These are the things that we attain when our motive is totally spiritual. It just gives us hope. It lifts us up. It lights that fire within us to go out and make some changes in the world, at least in our own community, or if not even in the community, at least in our own family. It gives us hope. It comforts our soul, and it releases faith and courage for daily living and unselfish serving. Faith promotes spiritual vitality and righteous fruitfulness. True religion is not a system of philosophic belief which can be reasoned out and substantiated by natural proofs. Neither is it a fantastic and mystic experience of indiscernible feelings of ecstasy, which can be enjoyed only by the romantic devotees of mysticism. Religion is not the product of reason, but viewed from within, it is altogether reasonable. Religion is not derived from the logic of human philosophy, but as a mortal experience, it is altogether logical. Religion is the experiencing of divinity in the consciousness of a moral being of evolutionary origin, which is us, human beings. It represents true experience with eternal realities in time, the realization of spiritual satisfactions while yet in the flesh. So even while we're living as human beings in the flesh, we can gain these beautiful spiritual experiences by making contact with divinity. And you know, to the scientific mind, it's not reasonable, it's not logical. But for a person who is in contact with God, who is gaining a spiritual experience from their spiritual devotions, this is the most reasonable and logical thing in the entire world, because it is real to that individual. True religion is a meaningful way of living dynamically, face to face, with the commonplace realities of everyday life. But if religion is to stimulate individual development of character and augment integration of personality, it must not be standardized. If it is to stimulate evaluation of experience and serve as a valuer it must not be stereotyped. If religion is to promote supreme loyalties, it must not be formalized. So, you know, if you need a religion, there's thousands of them in the world. If you need a religion that will put you in a box, if you need a religion that's already been created and you just follow the rules and, pray when they tell you to pray, worship when it's good to worship, go there whatever days they have, that's good if that's what you need. But if you want to have true religion, it's a lonely road sometimes. It's a relationship between you and God. It stops being lonely when you take it from your quiet arena where you go to God to pray or meditate. And when you start to socialize your spiritual self, when you go out and meet people and allow God to live in you and work through you, and when you feel spiritually motivated to uplift other people, you may not be uplifting them with your religious beliefs, but you can uplift them with your love and your care for humanity. And it says true religion is a meaningful way of living dynamically face to face with the commonplace realities of everyday life. So yeah, life can be a drag, life is a struggle, but we never give in. But when you have religion in your life, when you have God in your life, when you have spirituality in your life, it's no longer a drag. You take on the challenge of living with a smile on your face. You can handle life because you know that you're not alone. You've got God in your corner. You've got God in your world. You've got God in your mind to help you with the decisions of going through your day-to-day life. But this is saying, if religion is to stimulate individual development and your character and your personality, it shouldn't be standardized. You shouldn't allow your beliefs to be controlled by somebody else that says, this is how it's going to be. This is the way it is. And even in with revelatory religion, which is so beautiful, people try to formulate it, standardize it, stereotype it, control it, and it fails. It fails every time, because the true spiritual, free thinking individual will not allow themselves to be controlled by somebody outside of their relationship with God. And they won't allow somebody to come in between their relationship with God. There's no intermediary, There's no intermediary between you and your relationship with a family member. There shouldn't be. When you want to talk to a friend or a family member, you shouldn't need a third person unless you're trying to resolve a conflict. When you go to Jesus or to the Mother Spirit or to Melchizedek or to the Archangel Gabriel, and you want to talk to them directly, there's no intermediary needed. Just close your eyes and talk to them. Even if they're not on the phone right now, they'll get the message later and they will respond. But you can guarantee that the Mother Spirit, Christ Michael, Spirit of Truth, and our Heavenly Father are always at the other end of the phone, always ready to pick up and talk to you immediately when you reach out to them. So maintaining your freedom of spiritual expression is very, very important. And you may doubt yourself. Am I on the right road? Am I really secure with God? Because I am doing this in my own way. Yes, you are secure with God when you're doing it your own way, because you are a child of God. You were born as a child of God. Your personality is proof that God has given you that personality for you to exist and live and express yourself in the world. When you were born, you were given the breath of life. This is a gift. The breath of life is a gift. You were given that when you were born, which also validates you as a child of God. So never doubt yourself or your standing. You must be confident. Just like a child that's born to two parents, they shouldn't have any doubts about their relationship with their parents. I've never doubted my relationship with my mother. She brought me into this world, and I love her unconditionally. And my Heavenly Father brought me into this universe. So I have no choice but to love him unconditionally if I appreciate the life I have. And I do. Moving on. A godless humanitarianism is, humanly speaking, a noble jester. But true religion is the only power which can lastingly increase the responsiveness of one social group to the needs and sufferings of other groups. I think this is especially true right now. When you look at the wars in the world, the suffering in the world, and especially when we look at the conflict that's going on in Palestine, on the Gaza Strip between Israel and Hamas. There is so much suffering in the Congo. There is so many children dying in Africa because of the resources that are being stolen by the West. There is so much going on around the world that could be avoided if people were more spiritual and less religious. A godless humanitarianism means that there are a lot of atheists out there who are doing great work for humanity. And this is a noble gesture. This is great. But there are much more religionists in this world than atheists. And if these religionists could really look within themselves and recognize that the Jewish nation is my family, the Palestinian nation is my family, the Russian nation is my family, the Ukraine people are my family, the people of Africa are the family of the people of the West. Instead of going in there and taking what they've got and giving them guns to destabilize them, we could go in there and trade with them so that they are wealthy and we are wealthy. They benefit and we benefit. We benefit with our phones, and with our computers from the resources we get from Africa. But the people who live in the regions of those resources are suffering. So there is a guilt with many people having technology and not being able to do something for the people in Africa. Thank God I've been given the opportunity, along with the people around me, to do many works in Africa. But it could never be enough based on the level of suffering that I see going on. But we do our best. So this is saying true religion is the only power which can lastingly increase the responsiveness of one social group to the needs and sufferings of other groups. I believe this is so true. So true. and so needed now more than ever. One of the most amazing earmarks of religious living is that dynamic and sublime peace. That peace which passes all human understanding. That cosmic poise which betokens the absence of all doubt and turmoil. Such levels of spiritual stability are immune to disappointment. Such religionists are like the Apostle Paul, who said, I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else shall be able to separate us from the love of God. Do you feel that way with your personal relationship with God? That nothing can separate you from the love of God? That's how you're supposed to feel if you have true religion in your life. You know, I remember once I was in Colorado at the hot springs. What's that place called? Pagosa Springs. Hot springs. And I was baptizing people in the hot pools, in the hot tubs in Pagosa Springs. And an elder couple was walking past, and they said to me, what are you doing? What are you doing in the hot springs? I says, oh, I'm just baptizing people. You know, some of these people have asked to be baptized, and I'm just here baptizing these people. And they says, would you be willing to baptize us? I said, yes. They said, we're asking because we were kicked out of our church, and our church members told us that because we were too inquisitive, asking questions, that we would have to leave, and that we were damned to hell. And they said, we've been living with this dark cloud over our head ever since we were ejected from our church. And I said, actually, you should count that as a blessing. Because now, instead of being subject to what somebody in your church is telling you and directing you, now you can go directly to God. And so I invited them into the pool and baptized both of them right there and then. And they were so happy. They were just beaming with joy, you know. And for me, that's a memory I'll never forget. It was just so beautiful. Spiritual liberty is a beautiful thing. And going back again, one of the most amazing earmarks of religious living is that dynamic and sublime peace. That peace which passes all human understanding. You know, are you at peace? I hope so. God is not only the determiner of destiny, He is man's eternal destination. All non-religious human activities seek to bend the universe to the distorting service of self. The truly religious individual seeks to identify the self with the universe, and then to dedicate the activities of this unified self to the service of the universe family of fellow beings, human and superhuman. So let me make a confession today that one of my personal downfalls is that so many times I seek to connect with God, and then I seek to serve humanity. And I totally forget sometimes that I have a superhuman family that I also need to maintain a daily living connection with and be of service to them as well. And that they also need our help and support in the job that they have to do as invisible beings. And I think that for me, refocusing my mind on this reality is very, very important to recognize that this spiritual journey, this journey of service is not a part-time thing. It's not only when you're praying and meditating and when you're relating to people. It's actually 24 hours a day, every second of every minute, where that connection needs to be maintained. And, you know, for me, this is a revelation, you know, and it has touched me very deeply when I was preparing for this lesson. And even though I've read it many times and learned it many times, that's why you need to stay in the Word, because you can forget, you know, and there's so many different levels of spirituality that if you focus on one and not the other one, you're only getting a percentage of the reality of your spiritual life. You have to stay reminded. That's why it's important to surround yourself, you know, with other people who are spiritually minded, because they will encourage your growth. They will stimulate you to want to become a better person. And so, you know, I just want to share this with everybody that, yes, we need to focus our relationship with God, you know. And as we focus our relationship with God, we also focus our service to his children, which is all humanity. But God's children is not only humanity. God's children is the entire universe of intelligent beings, including celestial beings, visible and invisible. So let's incorporate them as we move forward in our daily life, that we don't only talk to God, but we actually have conversations with the celestial beings that we are aware of. At least bring them into our conversation and ask them how we can help them. How can we live? How can we be? How can we think to establish a better relationship with our spiritual family? All right, here's the next one. The religionist's detachment from much that is purely temporal and trivial never leads to social isolation, and it should not destroy the sense of humor. Genuine religion takes nothing away from human existence, but it does add new meanings to all of life. It generates new types of enthusiasm, zeal, and courage. So, in my experience with religionists, you know, and you know, I can only take this from my personal experiences growing up, you know, in certain Christian and Rasta communities. Many times, these people would get so wrapped up in their religion that they would cut off anyone or anything that didn't resonate with their belief system. Or they would step away from the material world and things that didn't seem important to the spiritual journey, you know. But a lifeguard who's sitting in his chair on the sand at the edge of the ocean, he's not there just to celebrate his safety on the sand. He's there to keep watch for the people who are in the water, enjoying their temporal and trivial fun. And at times he has to go and jump in and get wet with them to save their lives. And it's the same thing with a religionist. If you are saved, if you feel saved, if you feel that your religious truth has sanctified you and saved you, then you need to be going to the places where people are not saved. You need to be going to the places where people are living in darkness so that you can be a light for them, so that God can shine through you. Let your good works be seen so that men may glorify your Father in heaven. You know, and it should not destroy the sense of humor. You know, sometimes my brethren get so serious because they're religious, and it's like you have to look religious, you know, but you can be religious with a smile on your face. You can be spiritual and have a great sense of humor, like my friend Nancy Hill. You know, you shouldn't allow anything in your religious life to stop you from being social and happy. And it says here, genuine religion takes nothing away from human existence. A lot of people I know don't want to get involved with religion because they're worried that it's going to take something away from them. Yeah. They're afraid that it's going to take something away from them. But, you know, true religion only enhances your life. It only gives you more zeal for living, more courage, enthusiasm. That is a beautiful thing. All right. There is a reality in religious experience that is proportional to the spiritual content. And such a reality is transcendent to reason, science, philosophy, wisdom, and all other human achievements. You need to use the lighter. Or the matches. You need to use the lighter or the matches. All right, let me go back. There is a reality in religious experience that is proportional to the spiritual content. And such a reality is transcendent to reason, science, philosophy, wisdom, and all other human achievements. The convictions of such an experience are unassailable. The logic of religious living is incontrovertible. The certainty of such knowledge is superhuman. The satisfactions are superbly divine. The courage indomitable. The devotions unquestioning. The loyalties supreme. And the destinies final, eternal, ultimate, and universal. This is based, all of these amazing things are based on your personal religious experience. No one can give you that. You can't buy it. You can't loan it. You can't get it out of a book. The reality in religious experience is proportional to the spiritual content. That is beyond reason. beyond science, beyond philosophy, even beyond wisdom. It's unexplainable, but it is so real when you are living it and experiencing it. True religion is an experience of believing and knowing, as well as a satisfaction of feeling. Does anyone here know what this is saying? Does anyone here experience what this is saying? True religion is an experience of believing and knowing, as well as a satisfaction of feeling. Think about it. It's a beautiful thing. And lastly, today, true religion is a living love, a life of service. I've met so many people who have told me, I'm not serving, or I don't think I need to serve, or I'm not in a position to serve. But the Urantia Book and Jesus has told us that you can serve God in any earthly occupation. That means whatever job you're doing, you can be of service in that job. Whether you're a carpenter, a builder, a computer analyst, you work in the kitchen, you're a school teacher, whatever job you do, you can do it from a spiritual perspective. You can do it as a role of service. And even if you're unemployed, you can use your life. When you go to the store, you can serve God by saying, "Good day," to somebody. You can smile at somebody. You can improve somebody's day by just showing them a little love. If you are in social media, you have a platform. Whether you've got 10 fans, friends, or 5,000 friends, or 10 million fans, you can serve by spreading the good news in a post. You can share some spirituality, some truth, some goodness in something that you can write just like that, and then share it with a broad range of people. Much easier than in the old days where we did not have this technology, and to be of service, you had to go into the world to be of service. You can serve the world from the comfort of your own home. The main thing is that your intentions are good. That's all. Just good intentions and spiritual motivations. True religion is a living love. Do you love people? Do you love humanity? Does your religion make you want to embrace all of humanity? Not only the people that think like you and look like you, but all humanity? And are you being of service? Some people are praying, but they're not being of service. So what they receive from their spiritual communications is not being passed on. Some people are serving, but they're not praying. So if they're serving and not praying, they're not getting the guidance they need to really maximize the service that they can do. But when you put both of these together, then you have the reality of spirituality and the reality of spiritual growth to communicate with God and to be of service to humanity. And as we just read, to our celestial family too. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I have to get ready to go to this film screening in Las Vegas. But I'm going to leave you with a video called Jesus' Second Discourse on True Religion. Next week, I'll be back with True Religion Part 2 to share what Jesus says about religion. But in the meantime, here is some of the Master's teachings about true religion. I hope you enjoy it. Have a blessed day. You have come out from among those of your fellows who choose to remain satisfied with the religion of the mind, who crave security and prefer conformity. You have elected to exchange your feelings of authoritative certainty for the assurances of the spirit of adventurous and progressive faith. You have dared to protest against the grim bondage of institutional religion and to reject the authority of the traditions of record, which are now regarded as the word of God. Our Father did indeed speak through Moses, Elijah, Isaiah, Amos, and Hosea, but he did not cease to minister words of truth to the world when these prophets of old made an end of their utterances. My Father is no respecter of races or generations, in that the word of truth is vouchsafed one age and withheld from another. Commit not the folly of calling that divine which is wholly human, and fail not to discern the words of truth, which come not through the traditional oracles of supposed inspiration. I have called upon you to be born again, to be born of the Spirit. I have called you out of the darkness of authority and the lethargy of tradition into the transcendent light of the realization of the possibility of making for yourselves the greatest discovery possible for the human soul to make, the supernal experience of finding God for yourself, in yourself, and of yourself, and doing all this as a fact in your own personal experience. And so may you pass from death to life, from the authority of tradition to the experience of knowing God. Thus will you pass from darkness to light, from a racial faith inherited to a personal faith achieved by actual experience. And thereby will you progress from a theology of mind handed down by your ancestors to a true religion of spirit, which shall be built up in your souls as an eternal endowment. Your religion shall change from the mere intellectual belief in traditional authority to the actual experience of that living faith which is able to grasp the reality of God and all that relates to the divine spirit of the Father. The religion of the mind ties you hopelessly to the past. The religion of the spirit consists in progressive revelation and ever beckons you on toward higher and holier achievements in spiritual ideals and eternal realities. While the religion of authority may impart a present feeling of settled security, you pay for such a transient satisfaction the price of the loss of your spiritual freedom and religious liberty. My Father does not require of you as the price of entering the kingdom of heaven that you should force yourself to subscribe to a belief in things which are spiritually repugnant, unholy, and untruthful. It is not required of you that your own sense of mercy, justice, and truth should be outraged by submission to an outworn system of religious forms and ceremonies. The religion of the Spirit leaves you forever free to follow the truth wherever the leadings of the Spirit may take you. And who can judge? Perhaps the Spirit may have something to impart to this generation which other generations have refused to hear. Shame on those false religious teachers who would drag hungry souls back into the dim and distant past and there leave them. And so are these unfortunate persons doomed to become frightened by every new discovery, while they are discomforted by every new revelation of truth. The prophet who said, "He will be kept in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on God," was not a mere intellectual believer in authoritative theology. This truth-knowing human had discovered God. He was not merely talking about God. I admonish you to give up the practice of always quoting the prophets of old and praising the heroes of Israel, and instead inspire to become living prophets of the Most High and spiritual heroes of the coming kingdom. To honor the God-knowing leaders of the past may indeed be worthwhile, but why, in so doing, should you sacrifice the supreme experience of human existence, finding God for yourselves and knowing Him in your own souls? Every race of mankind has its own mental outlook upon human existence. Therefore must the religion of the mind ever run true to these various racial viewpoints. Never can the religions of authority come to unification. Human unity and mortal brotherhood can be achieved only by and through the super endowment of the religion of the Spirit. Racial minds may differ, but all mankind is indwelt by the same divine and eternal Spirit. The hope of human brotherhood can only be realized when and as the divergent mind religions of authority become impregnated with and overshadowed by the unifying and ennobling religion of the Spirit, the religion of personal spiritual experience. The religions of authority can only divide men and set them in conscientious array against each other. The religion of the Spirit will progressively draw men together and cause them to become understandingly sympathetic with one another. The religions of authority require of men uniformity in belief, but this is impossible of realization in the present state of the world. The religion of the Spirit requires only unity of experience, uniformity of destiny, making full allowance for diversity of belief. The religion of the Spirit requires only uniformity of insight, not uniformity of viewpoint and outlook. The religion of the Spirit does not demand uniformity of intellectual views, only unity of spirit feeling. The religions of authority crystallize into lifeless creeds. The religion of the Spirit grows into the increasing joy and liberty of ennobling deeds of loving service and merciful ministration. But watch, lest any of you look with disdain upon the children of Abraham, because they have fallen on these evil days of traditional barrenness. Our forefathers gave themselves up to the persistent and passionate search for God, and they found Him as no other whole race of men has ever known Him since the times of Adam, who knew much of this as he was himself a son of God. My Father has not failed to mark the long and untiring struggle of Israel, ever since the days of Moses, to find God and to know God. For weary generations the Jews have not ceased to toil, sweat, groan, travail, and endure the sufferings and experience the sorrows of a misunderstood and despised people, all in order that they might come a little nearer the discovery of the truth about God. And notwithstanding all the failures and falterings of Israel, our fathers progressively, from Moses to the times of Amos and Hosea, did reveal increasingly to the whole world an ever clearer and more truthful picture of the eternal God. And so was the way prepared for the still greater revelation of the Father, which you have been called to share. Never forget, there is only one adventure which is more satisfying and thrilling than the attempt to discover the will of the living God, and that is the supreme experience of honestly trying to do that divine will. And fail not to remember that the will of God can be done in any earthly occupation. Some callings are not holy and others secular. All things are sacred in the lives of those who are spirit-led, that is, subordinated to truth, ennobled by love, dominated by mercy, and restrained by fairness, justice. The Spirit which my Father and I shall send into the world is not only the Spirit of truth, but also the Spirit of idealistic beauty. You must cease to seek for the Word of God only on the pages of olden records of theological authority. Those who are born of the Spirit of God shall henceforth discern the Word of God regardless of whence it appears to take origin. divine truth must not be discounted because the channel of its bestowal is apparently human. Many of your brethren have minds which accept the theory of God, while they spiritually fail to realize the presence of God. And that is just the reason why I have so often taught you that the kingdom of heaven can best be realized by acquiring the spiritual attitude of a sincere child. It is not the mental immaturity of the child that I commend to you, but rather the spiritual simplicity of such an easy believing and fully trusting little one. It is not so important that you should know about the fact of God as that you should increasingly grow in the ability to feel the presence of God. When you once begin to find God in your soul, presently you will begin to discover Him in other men's souls and eventually in all the creatures and creations of a mighty universe. But what chance does the Father have to appear as a God of supreme loyalties and divine ideals in the souls of men who give little or no time to the thoughtful contemplation of such eternal realities? While the mind is not the seat of the spiritual nature, it is indeed the gateway thereto. But do not make the mistake of trying to prove to other men that you have found God. You cannot consciously produce such valid proof, albeit there are two positive and powerful demonstrations of the fact that you are God-knowing, and they are the fruits of the Spirit of God showing forth in your daily routine life. The fact that your entire life plan furnishes positive proof that you have unreservedly risked everything you are and have on the adventure of survival after death in the pursuit of the hope of finding the God of eternity, whose presence you have foretasted in time. Now mistake not, my Father will ever respond to the faintest flicker of faith. He takes note of the physical and superstitious emotions of the primitive man. And with those honest but fearful souls, whose faith is so weak that it amounts to little more than an intellectual conformity to a passive attitude of assent to religions of authority, the Father is ever alert to honor and foster even all such feeble attempts to reach out for Him. But you who have been called out of darkness into the light are expected to believe with a whole heart. Your faith shall dominate the combined attitudes of body, mind, and spirit. You are my apostles, and to you religion shall not become a theologic shelter to which you may flee in fear of facing the rugged realities of spiritual progress and idealistic adventure, but rather shall your religion become the fact of real experience, which testifies that God has found you, idealized, ennobled, and spiritualized you, and that you have enlisted in the eternal adventure of finding the God who was thus found and sonship to you.
Is that people 101?
All right. So thanks again, everyone, for joining. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the presentation this week. I will be back next week with the part 2. All right. True religion is. Peace.